Welcome to CS Week Marketplace webinar series. CS Week Marketplace offers fresh perspectives and strategies presented monthly by knowledge specialists from the Conference 39 Platinum and Gold sponsors. I am John Sild and I'm with CS Week. And I'll be your moderator today along with Caitlin Opero from Oracle, who will facilitate our questions and answer sessions later in this session. Mark your calendars. CS Week and Conference 40 will be held from April 25th through the 29th, 2016 at the Phoenix Convention Center in Phoenix, Arizona. Watch your email and our social media channels for registration information. This program will be recorded and available for playback along with our other archived presentations. You will find it under the Educational Venues Third Tuesday webinar link on our website later this afternoon. Attendees are encouraged to upload questions to the Q&A panel as they arise. However, all questions will be held until after the presentation for the Q&A segment. Please ensure that your address includes all panelists so that we may see them. Today's program is CIS Success, Best Practices from an Award-Winning CIS Implementation with Orange County Utilities and Oracle. I want to welcome Rosemary Whitacre. She is the Program Development Supervisor and CIS Solution Project Sponsor at Orange County Utilities in Orlando, Florida. She has 34 years of experience in the utility industry, 18 of those with Orange County Utilities, where she has held a wide variety of positions including Utilities Section Manager of the Customer Service and Manager of Customer Service. Before coming to Orange County, she spent 16 years with the City of Lakeland as a Public Works Billing Analyst and Supervisor of Billing. Rosemary received her bachelor's degree from Florida Southern College in Business Administration and Human Resource Management, and her master's degree from Florida Southern College in Business Administration. I want to welcome Rosemary today, and Rosemary, take it away.
Thank you, John. Thank you, everyone that's attending today. I would like to start off by taking you on Orange County's CIS journey with CCMB. First of all, I would like to just discuss, if I could, the Orange County itself and tell you a little bit about our utility and our background, give you some background on our project, talk about our project team and the opportunities and challenges that we faced, the phases of the project and our outcomes, including all of the benefits, and being honored with the Excellence Award from CS Week. First of all, let's talk about our utilities. We have an excellent utility. Everyone that works here, we are very proud of our utility. We foster on the customer. Our customer service division itself supports all of Orange County utilities, and we have divisions of development, metered services, a call center, billing, our cash area, credit and collections, our CIS team, and a 24-hour dispatch make up the customer service unit. We collect revenue and data for the utility, and all of our divisions use this data daily to run our operation. Annually, we send out approximately 1.5 billing statements. We process roughly 1.3 million payments. We have collections of over $204 million annually. We do over 2 million meter reads. Our call center takes roughly 180,000 calls each year, and our IVR handles around 500,000 or more calls. And we do around 72 to 73,000 starts, stops, cuts, and restores. How we came about doing a project was we were on PeopleSoft ERM, and we decided to move forward with CCMB, and that was going to be the long-term product for Oracle. We had a meeting with the board, and they approved us going ahead and buying the software in May of 2009. At that point, we sent out an RFP, but we had only 2 bidders at that time to do our project. So we decided to scale back and rebid the project. So we spent roughly about 10 months revamping the RFP, seeing what we missed and what we could have added to get more vendors involved in responding to it. And on September of 2010, we reissued that RFP, giving the vendors 60 days to respond, because we really did want to implement the CCMB product with an accomplished vendor. We received 4 proposals, and at that point in time, we worked with purchasing, and we had a plan in place on how we would evaluate these vendors to come to the best possible implementer. Our phase 1 included an evaluation of the written proposals that were presented. And we looked at the functionality, how the implementer would design and work with us on compliance issues, and we checked all the references of those vendors. From there, we moved on to site visits. There, we focused on the utility itself without the vendors present, and we looked at how they implemented CCMB. What were their pluses, their minuses, their lessons learned? What type of team did they have? How did they perform? And what functionality that we were not aware of that the system offered. Then we went on to on-site presentations by the vendors, where they came to us, presented their team. We spent a whole day just working with that team because we felt that was one of the key most important factors in a successful implementation. We looked at their methodology, how they would implement, how they carried through the functionality into the design and the services that they offered. From that point, we scored the last phase, which was costing, which is the most important. But we didn't focus on the costing, so we left that till last. We wanted to make sure we had a qualified, experienced vendor before associating costs with that vendor. And when we evaluated the cost, we looked for a quality project team. Of course, we looked at the bottom line and what the cost would be. And we also worked through the contract and the conditions for which they would come to the county to work with us. Our vendor that we selected to be our implementer was PostProduction. They were an excellent team. They guided us every way through the entire project. We selected them because they had a broad-based experience with large, complex utilities, example of which is here on the slide. They've implemented and brought live Jacksonville, Denver Water, El Paso, Cleveland Water, and Puerto Rico. They were financially sound and mature. We checked all that out by running Dun & Bradstreet and checking into the maturity of the company. They were established and proven in their project management style. They had a methodology they had used for over 10 years and had been successful. They also provided least risk to the county. So we moved forward. This is what our CIS, we call it the CIS solution, looks like. It's actually the system with all of the integrations and third-party products that we bring to the table. And this, in turn, runs our utility and the side of the CIS. On the project team itself, when we scored and even when we wrote the RFP, our heart was in the fact that the project team is what makes the project. If you don't have a strong, dedicated, and determined team, the project will not be successful. Here at Orange County, our staff brought that to the table. We have 9 permanent CIS team members who have been since before 2000 that have joined a team and have worked together now for going on almost 15 years. We had also excellent subject matter experts on the utility side, which brought their knowledge and experience and their day-to-day appreciation of the work to the table. Along with them, we had Information Systems and Services. That's our technical branch of Orange County. They brought a team of 3 to 4 people, depending on the time of the project, to assist us with our project. Then there was PwC. They were our implementer, PricewaterhouseCoopers. They brought a huge team of people, and they also filtered in and out depending on what phase of the project we were on. They worked by our side, they guided us, they trained us, they offered suggestions which were very beneficial to making this a successful project. We had a Millennium consultant who provided our utilities project management arm. They were very strong and supportive and brought knowledge to the table and experience. Langham Consulting did our QA work and made sure that we were on task at all times, pointing out areas where we needed to strengthen ourselves ahead of time so we didn't have any major things that happened during the project. Oracle, there were 2 people that supplemented the PwC team with their technical expertise. We had a strong county procurement and legal presence that guided us through the process, especially in selecting the most accurate vendor that fit where we could form a partnership. And we had third-party vendors, of which there are quite a few within the utility, that help make up the CIS solution, which also worked during the project to make sure all the integrations were in place and worked properly. This actually is our team, not all of it, but a majority of it. This comprises the ISS, the utilities, PwC, and we all work together. It's really amazing to see when you're determined to get a project and you really want something, it can work. They were very critical to the project, and also one of the main critical factors was that we had 100% support from our management. Without that, a project can never be a true success. We had opportunities that we wanted to gain from this project. One of them was to keep current in utilities best practices. We wanted to ensure that we got a comparable vendor for our application that was strong and that would have a large commitment to upgrades, to supporting us, and to sending in fixes and patches, so we would not have to make a major investment over and over again rebuilding this application. We decreased our conversion efforts considerably, and with Oracle's help and the application, we provided customer support at a very competitive rate. We did some research and found out roughly around the same time we did this project, other utilities who had done that, and they averaged a cost per customer around $43 per customer to bring this application online. In Orange County, we did better than that, and we averaged per customer $3.67 less, or $39.33 per customer to bring the system online successfully. We also wanted to reduce the learning curve for the staff, and this was made possible by the training, which I'll talk about in a minute. They enhanced the customer service experience. This product by Oracle assists us with that by screens that have data that the customer requests on comprehensive screens rather than having to go through multiple screens to answer the customer's questions. And as you'll see later, this reduced average speed of answer, and it also helped us in the call center to reduce the average handling time of the customer. We modified our deposit structure. At this point in time, all of our deposits were calculated based on service. We took that structure and we modified it, so now our deposits are just one deposit per account, which our customers do like, and it makes it less cumbersome for a CSR to try to explain to the customers. What challenges did we face? Well, we had a few. One challenge that we had was budget adherence. Our board had laid down the law as to what we could spend, and we were bound to determine we would stay within that budget. We would not go over, we would not change our go-live date, and we would manage the change requests proficiently. We had a schedule of implementation that we had to be done in 14 months, because as you're aware, every month that you implement, the costs do go up. So we were rigid with 14 months. We are the only utility that I'm aware of that has implemented CCMB in 14 months, and we're very successful in doing so, coming in under budget and on time without any delays. And within that timeline of 14 months, we had very aggressive schedules. All the team members can speak to this, but we kept to the schedule. We were all proficient, making all of our milestone deadlines within the timeline to make sure that we came in on time and we didn't have any major situations. We had to provide at a minimum with the functionality that we had in our previous system. That was a basic goal. We didn't want to go back in time. We wanted to move forward to be able to offer our customers some of the things that they had been requesting that we had not been able to provide in the past. We also wanted the capability to accommodate changes more rapidly, a system that was a little more flexible. We wanted to accommodate market trends, and within our organization, quick rule changes that are made by the board. We had 32 integration points that we wanted to ensure stayed real time so that our customers got real-time performance. And then we went into the phases of the project. This is very important because this is your project. This is what sets it up and the path that you follow to get to the end. We had a pre-project phase. Our team here at the utility did extensive research. What application, what would we glean from it, how much money should we spend? All of the assessments that you do when you're deciding if you want to take the step forward down this journey to a new CIS. We built as-is business processes. We didn't have any formal documents, and we wanted to make sure that we had those in place as a best practice, so when we move forward to do the 2B documents, we had a foundation in place. And we had a solid procurement process. We had an excellent procurement team that helped us to build that process and to walk through so that it was a credible process, it was fair, and we ended up with the right vendor for our utility. This is a graph of our actual overall project with the methodology phases. There was an assess phase, then we moved into design, then construct, then to implement, and then we operated. This is PwC's methodology, and instead of varying from that, we followed it, and we have been very successful in doing this, as you will see with CCMB, not once, but twice. In the assess phase, you actually draft your initial project plan. As we all know, this will not be the final plan. It morphs and it changes almost every day, but you have to build a foundation on which to start. Then we had CCMB installed, and Oracle came in to certify that everything was in place and ready to go. We did a stakeholders analysis. PwC met with from the lower to the upper echelon of the county to ensure we were going to meet everyone's goals and objectives throughout the utility, throughout ISS, and throughout upper management of the county. We had core team training initially for the members from ISS and the utility that were going to lead and work on this project. We actually brought an Oracle trainer in for 2 weeks, and they actually had a 2-week training on CCMB that covered the fundamentals, the functional side, and the technical side, running batches, building consolidated accounts, all those things to give our staff and our team a good foundation before we actually started the project. And then we drew up communication plans, which you know communication is very important in every project, and training plans so that we knew when we got to a certain point, we knew where we were going, and we wanted to ensure the staff were ready to go when the time came to flip the switch, so to speak. We went into the design phase, and in this phase we did workshops and learned about the system and learned what changes we need to make to accommodate some of the plugins we may have to build for our one-off things that we do. We also drew up scope documents. Everyone read those. We changed those. We signed off on those, and those morphed into our functional designs from which the coding on the project was done. Our first environments were created. We had our Pristine Gold environment. We had a development environment, training environment. We had tests. There were multiple environments for the project. We began our 2B processes. We used the foundation of the as-is to build our 2Bs as we were learning CCMB. We developed a test strategy. That's one of the key components of The team's work in a project is to test and test and test some more, and it seems like you never have enough time to test. And then we worked on conversion of our data and cleansing that data, and that was a reiterative process that went over and over and over again to make sure that we don't put anything in the system that we don't truly need. The data cleansing is a very important piece also of the project. Then we went into the construct phase, where we actually did the initial configurations of the system. We're continuing work on our business processes. The conversion programs were written and executed for the first-time runs so we could see where we needed to change things and make sure data was mapped and going into the right fields. Modifications were developed. Those came from the workshops and the functional designs. We did some alpha testing, and we did train the trainer and developed our training materials. Our path for training was such that we hired one person from PwC who guided us down the path. She was a professional trainer to help us. She taught our 4 trainers through Train the Trainer, and then they in turn instructed others. And we bought training materials from Oracle, their generic training, and we took that, and the trainers actually took that and changed it to mirror Orange County's processes. So you had the fundamental CCMB base with our Orange County processes built in. So when the staff received training, they were receiving training based on Orange County processes, not generic processes. When we moved from the construct phase, let's see here, it's not working. We moved into the implementation phase. We did the integration, performance, and parallel testing, and that was months of testing and running testing and finding errors and testing again until we got it just the way we wanted it. We did the end user training that we had been preparing for. We set up our production environment, which is important, and then we did 2 mock cutovers where actually we brought everyone in and we ran through the mocks just as if we were doing an actual go live. We did that on 2 separate weekends. They went very smoothly, smoother than we expected, especially on the first one. And then we planned our post-go-live support strategy. We had with our previous application, we had spent months in post-production. We really didn't think we needed that much, but we knew it was a new application. But we wanted to also roll into an upgrade pretty closely after going live with phase 1. So we planned on 3 months of post-production support, but we found out as we got along into post-production support, we did add on 3 more months with one person who was strong from PwC in both the functional side and the technical side, just to shore us up while we were in the upgrade to the next version. So we executed the cutover to CCMB 2.3, and we went live. We went live without any problems. It was just a perfect go live. And then we rolled into our support phase, which was the post-production support. What was the outcomes of all of this project? What did we do and what did we learn? First of all, a lot of people focused on the change orders. Many people have a lot of change orders. When we recrafted our RFP, we tried to put everything in that RFP that we believed that we were going to need. So therefore, if you did all that and it's costed in the initial costing, you shouldn't have a lot of change orders moving forward. Overall, we had 27 change requests. We had 5 that we canceled. We had 11 that were $0. Those were things like changing signature blocks on documents and those types of things. We had 10 overall change orders that cost $162,269. We had 1 what we call an audit change request. Because in the pricing, initially when you go in and you ask the vendor to price, the implementer to price, you're not really sure what you need if you don't know the application. So when it came down to, we got to the point where the workshops were over, we did an audit change request, and we found that there was over $190,000 worth of items that we requested that we did not need because we didn't understand the system, or the system did this for us, so we didn't need to retool it. Then there was new functionality that we replaced that we didn't have in the RFP because we didn't think we had the money for, to the tune of about $121,000 that we added, which was things that we had wanted and now we were going to get. The first change requests, the 3 of them were close to $70,000 for the first 3 of the 10. We took that into account, and even after that, we still had $1,300 of credit remaining to apply to the remaining 7 change orders. And doing some research and checking other projects, our change orders were very, very minimal compared to other projects. This is actually our incidents where we actually had problems throughout the entire implementation, the whole 14 months. There were 505 total incidents, which again, in doing some research, that is a very low number. We only had 57 that were very urgent and major, and we couldn't have operated without getting them fixed. We had 149 that we classified as severity 2, and they decreased the efficiency of the application. And they would not prevent us from going live, but they could result in some operational impacts with workarounds or whatever. So then severity 3, we had 224, and we could do these with the system up. We could fix them later, although we did end up fixing almost every one of those before we actually went live. And then severity 4s, we had 75, and those are a low priority defect, but that didn't prevent us from using the application. So we thought we did really well in the change order and in the incident area. The benefits, we had many. I didn't list everything here, but we do have now an industry-leading software solution. So we won't be having to spend large amounts of money every time we go live because Oracle furnishes upgrades and we just do the upgrade process. Of course, that's not free. We have to have staff and consultants to assist with that. But we have a strong application that we can grow into the future, and it will grow with the utility, which was one of our strategic goals. We also enhanced our system with greater functionality, and with that functionality and the system combined, we now have timelier customer service. We have greater flexibility than we've ever had in the past to adapt to new programs, to mandates, or changes that the customer might request. Where we had to put those off in the past, we have an opportunity to do those now without us costing any money. We have timely adoption, of utility industry best practices. Oracle is always looking at best practices, incorporating them in new versions of the application, and this helps us to stay on top of things within the utility and to ensure we are a world-class utility, in my opinion. We have a great utility here, and this is one of the reasons why. We have a greater use of the base product. Oracle has a process whereby you cannot change the base, which is a good process to have because it makes you think and try to use the base application rather than modifying it, which costs a lot of money, number one, and number two, it makes it harder to upgrade. And by changing and tweaking some business processes, you get a greater economy of scale. The staff learns the system better. Some things will never change, and we had fewer enhancements as a result of that. We also had to develop a system within a system, which PwC did a very good job on. We developed a permitting system that we integrated into CCMB, and that handles all of our capacity tracking and our residential connection, and for the wastewater and the water for the plants. This is, some people call this in some utilities impact fees, where we're paying for that infrastructure and the cost and working with developers, building new subdivisions, increasing our commercial opportunities. This is just some numbers that show the numbers that came out the day after we went live. Nothing changed. There was no dip in our statistics. The very first day, we sent out 5,862 bills. We collected over $2 million in revenue. And as you can see here, I won't go into all the numbers, but everything we did was just as if another day in the operation. And we actually were completing all of our to-dos the very first day. I think that came from PwC's guidance, our excellent training, our strong team, and the support of all the people within our organization. These next few charts are just graphs of some ways that we have actually saved and benefited very much from having CCMB. These numbers here are from the call center. They reflect on average speed of answer. And as you can see, the yellow line is the trend on our average speed of answer, and it dropped significantly, at least to the point of maybe like 2 or 3 minutes that we are answering a call. This, along with a third-party application that we do have called Virtual Hold, which gives our customers, when they come into the queue, an average time that they will be on hold, and if they want an option to wait in the queue or give them a phone number to call them back at whatever time they want. Those two in combination have really assisted in our average speed of answer, which we are really pleased with. Then we go into the average handling time, which is actually how long is a CSR in the call center on a call with a customer. Again, you can see the trend, and this is very important because not only can you answer more calls, but you're not keeping the customer tied up on the phone as long. They know that you have the information at your fingertips, and you have greater opportunities to do a one-call resolution situation. And as you can see here, we saved over a minute on our average handling time. These charts show the 4 months before the project, the month we went live, and the 4 months after the project. This chart shows total abandoned calls. And this equates to if you can answer the calls faster and you don't spend as much time with the customer, you can answer more calls. And as you can see here, our abandoned call rate went down very significantly, almost by 70% over the 4 months after we went live with CCMB. And these numbers hold true today. So we are very happy about that because, as you know, if your utility is like ours, you just can't resize your call center anytime the call volume goes up. So you look for ways to get efficiencies where you can. Now this slide here is 2 bar charts. One shows the reduction in the number of reports, and one the reduction in the number of queries that we had during the project. And as you can see, we reduced 41% our number of reports, and we reduced our queries by 73%. Our batch run times also reduced on the billing side. We saved a great deal of time, more than half of what we were doing to do billing runs at night. And as you can see here, we saved over 100 minutes on our complete daily night batching. Next one benefit was it was a straightforward upgrade process, so we rolled right out of the phase 1 going to 2.3 right into phase 2, which was an upgrade to 2.4. We had a full complement of post-production support for 3 months, and then, as I said, we narrowed that down, and we went on into our upgrade, which was to version 2.4. This was very smooth also as well. We didn't have any issues. We actually did that. We began in November. Remember we went live on 2.3 in September. We started the upgrade in November of the same year. We completed the upgrade in 5.5 months. That was from start to finish, including testing and running some mocks and going live. And once we completed that, then we added quite a bit of new functionality, keeping PwC on board to help us with that, which we were very happy about. They're staying around to help us. It worked very well. They gave us some functionality, which included besides the upgrade, we integrated our help set. We use RoboHelp. We integrated that into CCMB. So now we have our own customized utility help set that contains all of our business processes and things that will help the customers get better information, because the CSRs can click a button and they have information that will guide them through if they're new, and all of that equates to a better customer experience. We retooled some of our interfaces and our algorithms into Java at that point in time when we upgraded, and also we created a new portal for AutoPay. We developed a link case. This is a functionality that's in CCMB that's very valuable, and that's the case and also scripts. But the link case is very important because it keeps us timely. It keeps our revenue flowing within our utility. And also we developed appointment automation, so our people in the field are not overrun with appointments on one day and not having any the next. We scheduled them so the customers are satisfied. They know the time that they're coming, and they get the full attention of our water auditors or other people in the field that are scheduled to do work that day. For our first phase implementing CCMB in 2.3, we are very proud and honored that we won the Excellent Award at Customer Service Week. We won for the implementation level 2, and we were ecstatic to receive that because we had some good competition, but we thought we did a really good job, and we thought we stood a very good chance. Some of the things that qualified us for winning the award was our budget adherence, our schedule adherence, our operating efficiencies that we gained after we went live, our innovation to take that application and to use it to the full extent as we could without having to morph and add plug-ins and change our processes, and also we improved our service levels. All in all, I can say that we have had a very, very good experience going to CCMB. Of course, every day in production there may be a challenge or two, but they're usually self-imposed sometimes. But we had a good team, utility, technical, PwC guided us all along the way. We had the support of management, and we're very proud and honored to have won that award and to be able to share what we've done with you.
Great, Rosemary, that was so great. Thank you so much for that. You guys you approached the implementation project with such focus and such intent. It's really interesting to hear about, the whole process and what you guys considered going into it and the challenges and benefits you saw going through it. So we have a couple questions for you already. I'll just remind everybody to go ahead and upload those questions into the Q&A panel and address it to all the panelists so that we can ask Rosemary all of your questions. So I'll jump into the first one. What is the importance of post-production support?
Well, for us, post-production support was very important, especially since we started into our second phase of an upgrade so close to coming out of going live with CCMB. But post-production support is like your helping hand. It's a new application, but you have someone there that can actually give you qualifying answers, tell you if you're going in the right direction or the wrong direction, give you some knowledge transfer, and get your team ready so they can take over the application as they transition out of the project. That helps your utility, it helps the technical staff to move forward. We started out with a full complement, and then we scaled down over time. We had post-production support when we did the upgrade in phase 2, and it will help your team to transition. It will give them more confidence as they move forward.
Great, thank you. Okay, so another question. What did your organizational change management process look like before the implementation, and what did your end user training consist of?
Okay, well, the change management process before we started was not very well organized. But as we sat down, we developed a plan for during the implementation and after the implementation. During the implementation, we had forms that needed to be filled out. We had We had to get approvals before we did a change. That was very important. We had to check budget, and we followed the purchasing methodology. But once we rolled out of that into post-production and to live production, things change. You are responsible for all the documents. You are responsible for getting management sign off. So we have a system in place now where we actually document what we want to do and why we want to do it. We go through what that will affect. We bring everyone in the room, management and users alike, and make sure we understand with the mini workshop exactly what they want to do. We document that in a functional design. We do not move forward with any development until everyone's approved and signed off on that functional design. And then we drop it into test once it's developed and make sure everything works. And then we have what we call a go-prod meeting, and we go through again and check and make sure all the functionals and the technicals are complete and that they're up to date. And then and only then we run through all the tests and see if we've done all the tests we need to do. And once everyone agrees that it's working, then we go on in and drop it into prod. And the second part of that question was about training, I believe, correct?
Yeah, it was what did your end-user training consist of?
Well, the end-user training, as I said before, we actually purchased the training from Oracle, their generic CCMB training. And then we took that training and incorporated in our business processes. So it was a tailored training for our staff based upon what they do every day. In the call center, we set up computers as well as we did in all the areas within customer service where staff could practice. We had practice books that they could go in and try out the system. CSRs would take calls and then go to the practice monitor and do the same call again to get familiar with the use of CCMB. We had trainings for every work group within customer service, and then closer to the time of go live, we did some specialized trainings for certain things that are a little bit, have more steps, a little bit more difficult for your average user, so it was fresh in your mind before we rolled out the product. And we have trainers now. We have a trainer on our team, our CIS team, who trains all of the new people that come in and gives them that CCMB foundation before they roll to their work group for additional training at that point. But we try to make it a smooth, seamless process. We have good business processes that we're proud of, that we utilize every day, and that really helps. You have to spend the time and the money up front, and then you reap all the benefits once you go live.
Great, thank you. Okay, so next question. You referenced the 32 real-time data integration points, and one of the attendees would like a little bit of clarification. What are those real-time data elements that you're referring to?
Okay, those are integration points like for third-party vendors, or they're for our interfaces with the banks, the lock boxes, our payment vendors. We use Pitney Bowes for our third-party billing and cash certification. We use core cash receiving. That is an integration. We integrate with our utilities Esri GIS. We integrate with our utilities Maximo application. We have, like I said, the virtual hull, which is also a part of all of this. There are just multiple third-party applications. That's why we don't call it CIS. We call it the CIS solution, because it offers all the components to our staff so that they can make our customer experience a positive experience. We also have integrations to, it might just be a file set or whatever to a utility, a neighboring utility in the area to get data. We get data files in as they bill 44,000 of our wastewater customers. We also have integrations with other applications within the utility, like our laboratory application, so that we can get test results in, so that we can bill high-strength surcharges to some of our customers. And all of these integrations are part of those 32. If somebody wants a list of the 32, I can provide that to them. If they want to contact me directly, I can do that.
Okay, great. Yeah, and we can also you know, help you get that list out to everybody as well.
That would be great.
If their question didn't get directly answered, yeah. So I think there's a follow-up question kind of related to that. Were the permitting and inventory systems integrated with Oracle? Were they developed in-house or were they other off-the-shelf products?
Okay, the inventory system, inventory is done as a part of Maximo. Maximo houses all the inventory, and they also keep the meter inventory. And then CIS integrates with Maximo for that meter inventory. As far as permitting, we have, like I was speaking earlier, a subset, a little sub-program for our permitting for our development area out front that monitors all the new construction and works with the developers and the builders in that point. But we also are integrated with our building application, which is actually ran by the county for building permits, plumbing permits. We are integrated with that system as well. So as an example, when a plumbing permit is final, that actually turns on our wastewater charge in our application. If we have to lock out a developer for whatever reason it may be, that also is a part of the interface. We have a real-time interface with the building group downtown, which is a county office. We're all county, but it's ran more by the board downtown, and then the utility has its own permitting for capacities at all of the plants.
Okay. Going back to the great stats that you went over for call center performance after the implementation, was there a decrease in the number of calls for the months after implementation? Was there an increase in the number of web queries and or use of mobile apps?
Okay, well, we don't have a mobile app, first of all. We're getting ready to put an RFP out for a mobile app. As far as web queries, we've had web presence way back since 2006, and our web queries stayed the same. They didn't go up and they didn't go down. The numbers just stayed the same. We didn't change the look or feel of our web at all. And as far as, let's see, what else did you ask there?
Did you have, I think it was related, so did you have a decrease in the number of calls? So essentially I think the question is, were you able to deflect any calls out of the call center, out of implementation to those other resources?
No, we have a positive setup before we come into the CCMB implementation in that we do have the web, and our IVR takes about 75% of our calls already and handles them for us. So the call flow into the call center actually was about the same. The differences was that those calls were not getting abandoned. We were actually answering those calls, and we were answering them a little bit quicker, and we could give the customers the answers that they needed a little bit faster.
Great. How many end users do you have for CCMB?
Well, we have quite a few end users. Within our own utility, we probably have close to about 150, 160, including all the divisions within the utility. Some of them just have inquiry-only access, but they have the availability. And this is growing. We're starting to do other things for the divisions within the utility, within CCMB, that we haven't done in the past. One of them is like managing the fines for water violators. But outside of the utility, I'm not sure of the exact number. I can get those if you need them, but we do have probably roughly at least 50 to 60. Our comptroller office uses the system. Health and Family Services use the system. We have what we call Orange Cares for You, which is like a function where the customers can actually donate money to Orange Cares for You, and they would go to Family Services, and if they certified, we would actually use money from that fund to help them pay for their utility bill when they have rough times, they've lost their job, or they are deathly ill, whatever it might be. Health and Families certifies those customers, and then they actually use our system, and then we actually help them to pay their bill. So they also have connections. There are connections throughout our organization here at the county that actually will be utilized if it's nothing but inquiry only to go out and to glean data that we have in the system.
Great. Next question. Did you consider any other CIS systems besides CCMB?
Well, we looked at others and we considered others, but as I said earlier on, we were on PeopleSoft ERM, and it was an easier transition to go to CCMB because Oracle had bought out PeopleSoft, and they were going to discontinue the use of PeopleSoft and its support. And when we looked at CCMB, we saw it would be an easier learning curve for our staff, which we appreciated very much. They could attrition into the system. It had a lot of flexibility, and we also worked with Oracle and got some good prices on the licensing. So we moved forward with CCMB, and we're very, very happy that we did.
Okay. You mentioned a scheduling tool. Is that part of CCMB, or is it part of an asset management application?
Well, it was developed by PwC as a plug-in to CCMB. So we used some of the functionality that was within CCMB, and when, as an example, a customer will call in and they'll want a water audit in the call center. The call center rep can schedule a day. If that day doesn't work, something comes up and tells them here's what's available, so they can schedule it so that the customer will know from their perspective what time we're coming and what day we're coming on, so they don't have to take extra time off work. And also from the field perspective, they can schedule those people in the field and make sure that their day is full but not over full, so that all the customers get the attention that they need. But that was developed basically by Pricewaterhouse, and then it was a plug-in to CCMB, and then we tested it and made sure it met our standards.
Great. Did your bill format change, and how far in advance did you start notifying customers about the new system?
Our bill format did not change. We changed our bill format when we went live with PeopleSoft, and we notified, I can tell you what we did for that project. We notified them about 3 months to 4 months in advance, sending a sample of the bill and a stuffer, and we sent extra stuffers explaining what was going to happen to the bill and what it was going to look like. And we tried to keep some of the fields in the same area, although we did show more data than we did before because our customers had been requesting that. But we had such an influx of calls in the call center when that first new bill went out, and customers tried to pay our sample bill rather than our bill, their real bill. We decided to leave the bill in place. We weren't having any complaints. It was working well, and so we left the bill alone when we went to CCMB.
Great, and I think this will be a bit of a follow-up question to that. What, if any, customer communication problems did you want to solve with this conversion? Not necessarily call center interaction, but through outbound communication to the customer. Any, invoice embellishments, were they not previously available, or anything like that?
Well, we had taken advantage with quite a few of the things when we went to PeopleSoft, because we did a whole remake of what we do around here, because we had a true green screen application. But with CCMB, we're taking advantage of some of the functionality within there to assist us with call-outs. We do that, although we do use more of our third-party application for that. And customer notifications, we do get reports, queries. We do send out our bills electronically to those people who want the e-billing. Right now, we have an initiative whereby we're going to leverage what we have with CCMB and get new applications that are forward-facing to the customer, like the call-outs and the web and the IVR and mobility, and then we are going to further utilize CCMB to forward that with the customers.
Great, and you previously mentioned your IVR system. Can you describe the robustness of your IVR system, and did you develop it in-house or via third party?
No, our IVR is a third-party application, and it does handle, we designed all of the portals in there, all of the screens, what the customer hears. We try to develop those based upon our customers' requests and what we saw that might facilitate the call center by utilizing the IVR. That's the purpose of the IVR, is to get the information to the customer without the human interaction. And we've tried to make that a positive for our utility, and over the years it has grown to where, as I said, it handles about 75% of our customer calls that come in to the utility, but it is a third party. But as we all know, IVRs change, they morph, they grow, and there's some more robust IVRs out there that offer greater functionality, thus the RFP that we'll be sending out. We may end up staying with the same vendor or go to a new vendor. We won't know that till we go through the process, but we continue to bank on the IVR as an integral part of this whole equation. Because our strategy here at the utility is to get the quality class products and then build on those products for years to come, so that we're not always out of pocket with large sums of money trying to get where we need to be.
Fantastic. Well, that actually wraps up all of the questions that we have time for. Rosemary, thank you so much for answering all of those and for walking us through that presentation. That was fantastic. And John, I will hand it over to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Kaylin. Hey, I want to thank you both for doing an outstanding job on this presentation. There was great insight into your project, and I can see why you won an award, and so congratulations again on that. We are nearing the top of the hour, and we want to be respectful of everyone's time and conclude promptly. If your question was not answered, Amber Weens from our CS Week office will forward the questions to Rosemary, and we'll get an answer for you. A few notes just to be aware of. Conference 39 workshop presentations are now live. If you attended the workshops at conference, check your email for the invitation to view that presentation. Also, mark your calendar now. Join us on June 16th for our next CS Week Marketplace webinar, sponsored by Vertex. It's the top 5 things utilities are doing right in the customer experience, and a few tips on how to do things even better. Watch your email and our social media channels for the registration link. Again, we want to thank each and every one that has attended this session. We want to thank Rosemary and Caitlin for being a part, and we want to thank you and just ask that you'd have a great rest of the day and a great week. Thank you, and this concludes our session.